I think there's an obsession of cricket in India, which actually takes over all the attention from the other sport.
In India, cricket has a huge fan base, so a lot of money goes into it, unlike the other sports. Like now, we have started to recognize table tennis, badminton, wrestling, but you need to win medals at that juncture to get recognized. So that's the sad reality. At grassroots level, there's almost negligible support.
India hasn't debuted in Olympics for triathlon, and you're India's best bet. And since you are a CA as well, CA in itself is a very tough exam. Like, it is one of the toughest exams in our country. How did you even think of pursuing chartered accountant exam while you were thinking about choosing sports as a full-time career?
So I think the balance of chartered accountancy and sports was possible because of a lot of prioritization, a lot of sacrifices, but I think I was enjoying the journey, so I didn't think of them as sacrifices.
There's a lot of resistance from society.
I've seen so many of my juniors who have done wonderfully well when they were young, but as soon as they step into higher secondary school, their family pulls them out of the sport. Ab ladki jawan ho gayi hai. She should not be wearing swimsuits. She should not be going and swimming and getting tanned. So I think that culture still exists in the society, and more so for females.
But is it a good field to earn money?
In a sport like mine,
so we have a really special guest with us. She's a CA and she is a triathlete. She has represented our country in Commonwealth Games in 2022, and she is going to debut in LA 2028 Olympics, and she is the best triathlete of our country. So welcome, Pragya. It's so lovely to have you here on our show.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. It's lovely being here.
So you've been India's top triathlete and a CA, two very different worlds. Did you ever think, like when you look back at your childhood, that you would be doing this?
I think when I look back into my childhood, I used to enjoy sports. I used to be that child who used to be very curious about a lot of things. I used to try my hands and get them dirty into whatever, like whichever opportunity my school gave, my parents gave, the society gave. So I think I was a curious kid to start with, and I was always like academically, I was okay, like I was decently good. And in sports, I really used to love the feeling of being in water. So I was a swimmer, and my parents say I started swimming when I was 2 years of age, maybe less. And I just took to water like a fish taking to like being in pond or something. So I think I've always enjoyed the feeling of sports, and growing up, my school offered that I could try basketball, football, tennis, badminton. So I tried my hands in everything. I also used to love climbing trees. So a lot of variety that I tried, but swimming stayed my constant. So growing up, I was a national level swimmer in my school days. And then I took to running as well in my middle school time. And then cycling, like, I used to cycle like any other kid for commute. So I think now looking back, everything fell into place one by one. And coming to education, I actually was a science student in my 11th and 12th standard, because I was unsure of what I wanted to pursue as an educational qualification later on. And when in 11th standard, we were deciding like which entrance test to give, what to do. I think it was a decision of my father telling that, there's a course called Chartered Accountancy. Until then, I didn't know that something like that existed. And I was like, okay, why not? Like, give it a try. And when I studied for Chartered Accountancy, maths was my favorite subject growing up. So I think I had a thing for numbers. So I really enjoyed it. So looking back, I think I never thought that I would be a professional athlete as well as chartered accountant, but everything kind of fell into place. Yeah.
So with CA in itself is a very tough exam. Like, it is one of the toughest exams in our country. So like, how did you even think of pursuing chartered accountant exam while you were thinking about, choosing sports as a full-time career? Because it's very demanding. both of the fields, like a CA also and like being in sports also. So like, what made you did not you like you did not ever think that I might choose a little easier course for myself that can actually be lesser of a load than
Well, like
CA?
I told you, like CA kind of happened to be an option, and that I explored, and we went ahead. Um, I actually enjoy chartered accountancy.
Oh,
It's a tough course, no doubt about it. It requires a lot of time to be given because the course is very lengthy.
yeah.
So I think, but because of the what do you call it, the dedication or the hard work instilled you because of sports. When I had to focus on studies, my focus was quite like 100%. So I could easily study as well as do sports. But having said that, there are sacrifices that one has to make to kind of balance both. For me, that was to prioritize sports over anything else. So for my CA, there are a lot of coaching classes where you go and study for the exams. I did not do that, and not because I'm against coaching, but because sports was my priority. So if I went to coaching in the morning and the evening, and during the day we have to go to an office, because when I was doing the chartered accountancy course, we had 3 years of internship. The internship has to be done with a chartered accountant under him in an office. So you're working for 3 years. So if I was to do coaching, I did not get the morning and the evening time because that would be spent in a coaching class for my sports. So I did not go to any coaching. I did not do normal college, regular college. I did my bachelor's and master's from a distance college. And as a family, we don't have a television set at home. And that was a conscious decision by my parents. And so I think the balance of chartered accountancy and sports was possible because of a lot of prioritization, a lot of sacrifices. But I think I was enjoying the journey, so I didn't think of them as sacrifices when they happened.
Sports people usually do not pay as much attention to education as compared to people who are completely into academia. So, like, was it really important to you to like complete and finish a professional course? Like, did you ever did you always think about it? While you were growing up, as a very important thing in your life to complete the education.
I think coming from an educated family, and in our society, in the Indian community, education unfortunately is given too much of weightage.
Yeah.
And sports is a very unconventional career choice. It's very risky.
Yes.
So if you have one injury, it might mean that it derails your entire sporting career. So I think it never crossed my mind that I could give up. Yeah. Or I could leave in between to say that, okay, I want to pursue sports. My parents and my family, immediate family, is extremely supportive. But I think there was an unsaid thing in the house, which was never said aloud, that you have to finish chartered accountancy. So I think that is how it happened. And obviously, I have grown in this society. So the thought never kind of crossed that I could do without it. And to be very honest, I really enjoyed chartered accountancy and the 3 years of internship that we had, which is called articleship. Because in that you actually get to do the work on field. Like, you've learned that there is income tax return, but you get to file it for someone else, and you also get paid to do it. So I think I really enjoyed the entire course and what kind of experiences you get from it.
Like, have you had strict parents while you were growing up?
I think it was a mixture of being strict and being lenient. Because my family is very forward thinking, as you can see, like, sports and being a girl, being encouraged to participate, do so many activities. I think they were strict to an extent that what I had set for myself as goals, I was working hard to get those, achieve those goals. They were strict enough to monitor that I was on the right path, but lenient enough to give me space to kind of grow and explore for myself, what I liked, what I didn't like. So I think it was a mixture of both, and they have been extremely supportive during the entire journey, be it my chartered accountancy, be it my sports, or be it any other activity. Like I was a very curious kid. So I used to try my hands into even co-curricular activities. Like as a chartered accountant student, I used to do a lot of paper presentations, which were like writing technical papers, going to conferences around India, even internationally, and presenting those papers. So they have been very supportive of everything that I did, except for also academics. So yes, yeah.
That's very sweet as
Yes, yeah.
parents to actually allow your kids to do whatever they want, but at the same time discipline them to be dedicated towards whatever they are doing. So were you always this disciplined, or were you a naughty kid, and like were you pushed into sports and like academics while you were young? कि नहीं करना पड़ेगा, that you have to go to classes, you have to coach and all that. कि you were the person who actually took the step by yourself. कि no, I want to do this.
So I think again it was a mixture of a lot of things. So my parents kind of saw that I was talented enough, or I had an affinity for water, and then they sent me to coaching for swimming, for different sports, and it was. I wouldn't say as a kid, I don't think there's discipline or you understand that there's anything else. Like you don't understand the difference between being disciplined, being not disciplined. I think it was the surrounding, the people that I saw. Like if the coach said that you had to be there at 5:30 a.m. in the morning in the pool, it meant you had to be there. Like there was nothing to be debated upon or not to be done. And then obviously my parents took care that I slept at the right time, woke up at the right time. So I think growing up, that was how it was. And once I think I was in my teenage years, then it came to me that, okay, I'll set up my alarm clock to wake me up at 4:30 so that I'm ready by 5 to leave the house and to be there at the pool by 5:30. So I think gradually things kind of came to me, because as a child it was the coach and the parent kind of discussing what to do. So I think, and then that discipline kind of maintained because I used to like what I was getting. Like if I had to be swimming for 2 hours in the morning and I didn't have any other time, like after that I had to go to school, and then coming back from school I had another practice. So I didn't have time. So I had those 2 hours in the morning. So I had to get it done. So I don't think I was disciplined, but it was just the way it was.
I think that, flourishing in any field, especially such a demanding field like sports, needs a lot of support. And it's a very great thing that you had that support system in your family. But do you think that sports being an unconventional career to choose, there's a lot of stigma associated with it? There's a lot of resistance from society and friends generally that, you were choosing this particular field for yourself. So did you face any such thing while, you were choosing it? Like right now you're an established sports person, an athlete, but during that time, did you face any such thing?
So I'm told by my family that my grandmother used to live with us when I was growing up. And until the age of 10, she was okay. She used to actually travel with me to kind of go to training camps, because I was born in a small town called Ankleshwar. So there the facilities for training were limited. So we used to travel to Surat during the summer vacation and stay there, live there for training. So she was often the one to accompany me for even training or even competition. My grandmother, because my father was working, my brother was in school, and my mother was looking after the family. So she was the one who could accompany me. But after I entered into teenage years, there was a resistance from her that, ab ladki jawan ho gayi hai. So she should not be wearing swimsuits. She should not be going and swimming and getting tanned. So I think that culture still exists in the society, and more so for female. And I've seen so many of my juniors or so many of my colleagues who have done wonderfully well when they were young, but as soon as they step into higher secondary school, their family pulls them out of the sport. And the percentage of that happening for a female athlete is much more than for male athlete. And one of the reasons is because the family feels that sports is not going to be a career option, so you better focus on academics. And you flourish in that rather than spending time in sports. So I think that's a sad reality of the society. And as you mentioned, now I'm established, but still there is the extended family. I often hear questions like, okay, sports kar rahe ho, but uske saath kya? Like they don't think that it's like a career choice that I've made. And there is like a thought that I am doing this until I get an eligible person I can marry. I'm doing this until then, kind of thing, to just pass my time. So I fail to understand that the thought process behind it. I think there has to be more people advocating that sports can be a career option. And obviously, like I mentioned, it's an unconventional career choice. It's highly risky in that sense. But like you can still have it as a career option. That has to be there. A lot of young athletes are also often under this impression that it cannot be chosen as a career.
That thought ever crossed your mind? So whenever you choose a career, there's a lot of thoughts that comes to your head, right? And since you are a CA as well, so did it ever cross your mind? Like this is too difficult. Let's pursue CA as a full-time thing.
I think, like I also mentioned that CA was something I had to complete. Like that was an answered thing in the family. I completed it in 2017. So I remember having this discussion with my family after getting the result and after passing the exam, after completing all the formalities of the course. I told them that I want to take 2 years to see and explore if I can make sports my career. And like until 2019, that was like 2017 to 2019. So my family was like, okay, you have the money. So I because of the sports winnings until then, I had accumulated a sum of money which would act as my seed funding or the capital. And then they were like, you have the money, you take 2 years and see if this can be a career option. So I did not have any support, any external support financially until 2019. And that year I became the first Indian to go to the World Cup. South Asian Games happened for me. So a lot of things fell into place in 2019. So that was the year I said, okay, now I have the financial options to take it professionally and say that I'm a professional athlete. So I think that 2 years, and my family kind of supported the decision because if they had not said a yes, I think I wouldn't have done it. So I think, like it obviously crossed my mind whether it is financially feasible or not. Because if you're becoming a professional athlete, you have to earn out of the sport. So is that a possibility? I didn't know until I tried. And it took me a while. Like I have been a national champion of the sport of triathlon since 2014. So it took me 5 years to make it financially feasible. So it is not that easy. And obviously coming from an Indian society, I also have that mentality. So I was like, is it or is it not? And then I had to try it to make it happen.
Even after doing so good till 5 years continuously, you still had this doubt and you kept, CA as your backup option. That even if, let's say, I do not make a profession out of it, I still have a degree or a professional thing which I can rely upon. So, like, how do professional athletes earn? Like, is it the sponsorship that you get a salary out of? Because I have no idea how do professional athletes earn. Like,
so we get a lot of sponsorships. A lot of people support us. That is how kind of we make our living. Then we get prize money in the events that we win or perform, or there's sometimes appearance fee that you charge from the organizers. So those are the options. And now with the social media brand collaborations, you have brands like a lot of sporting brands who would pay you to kind of wear their attire. So that is how mostly athletes make money. Then there are some government schemes in which you can also get some salaries. So, and then you get into PSUs or something as like it's a notional job, so you don't really have to work, but you are paid, kind of thing. So these are the avenues that athletes earn out of.
But is it a good field to earn money or not?
I think in a sport like mine, which is less known, or it is, you have to become the best to be able to tap those avenues for making money. Yes, yeah. So I think you also have to get those skill sets. Like I can do public talking, public speaking. So I'm often invited to events, and that is how I get paid. So you also have to like then tap into your niche as well. So like, you know, what is your niche? How does it differentiate you from someone else? Like if a badminton player was to be invited, or a triathlete had to be invited, why would they invite you instead of them? So you have to kind of then create your audience, your niche, and then tap into it. So I think that is also, as athletes, you have to then being athlete is just not enough. You have to kind
Make
of
your own
yes,
space.
I think that's true for any profession.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any career.
Yes.
So triathlon is in itself is a very difficult sport. Even like amongst all the sports, if you see. So how did you decide that you will choose triathlon as your thing?
So I have a very interesting story behind that. So as I said, I was a national level swimmer during my school days. I started running in my 5th grade. So my school had organized a mini marathon, which was 7 kilometers for boys and 5 kilometers for the girls. My brother, he was a chess player. So he got interested in it somehow. He is 2 years elder to me. So he was in 7th standard, I was in 5th standard. And I was like, if he's interested, there must be something in this. Like this is something good. So it started as a sibling rivalry कि ये कर रहा है तो मैं भी करूँगी. So then he started training for that 7 kilometers, and I tagged along with him that I'll also run 5 kilometers. And I came second in the entire school. So it was from 5th standard till 12th standard girls. So I came second in that. So I was like, okay. And then I started enjoying it. So since then, since the age of 9 or 10, running became my second sport. And I was exploring a lot of different sports at this time. And for me, cycling kind of happened like it was a commute. Like I used to commute to my swimming pool. So from 9th standard till 12th standard, my swimming pool was 10 kilometers away from me. I stayed in Ahmedabad. So I used to live in Satellite, and my swimming pool was in Ashram Road, at Ashram Road. So I used to travel 10 kilometers. So I traveled by cycle. Then I swam for 3-4 kilometers, came back by cycle. So 20 kilometers of cycling I was doing daily from 9th to 12th standard. And so cycling as a sport happened for me in 2013. And in 2013, Modi ji, who was our chief minister, Gujarat's chief minister, was prepping for his PM candidature for 2014 elections. So a lot of events were happening across Gujarat, especially in Ahmedabad. Sports, cultural, religious, every kind of activities was happening. So in 2013 January, there were 3 weekends. In one weekend, there was Khel Mahakumbh, which was I participated in swimming, so I won there. In the next weekend, there was cyclothlon event, in which there was 50 kilometers of cycling. I participated in that, won that. And the 3rd weekend, there was a half marathon, Ahmedabad marathon, that was being organized. I participated in that and won that. So then I realized I was individually very good in all the 3 sports. And that is when I decided, why don't I do triathlon? So 2013 was the year I realized in January that I was good in all 3. And then I thought that I should combine all the 3 and do triathlon.
And like, how old were you while?
I was 18 or 17 or 18 years
so
of
till
age.
17 and 18, you were participating in all 3 sports.
Yes, cycling was my first competition for cycling. But otherwise I was participating in running, swimming. I have participated in a lot of different sports at district and state level, like kho-kho, kabaddi, basketball, football, tennis. In fact, like my first sports earning has been through chess. Yeah, this was probably when I was 8 years of age, and that is how I opened my bank account through that earning. I think it was about 700 rupees or
Is
something.
there anything that you've not done? You've done CA, you're playing all three sports, and then you've championed in this indoor sport as well.
Yeah, so so that is what I'm saying, that I was like, okay, I'll try my hands into everything. And my first national medal is in the sport of taekwondo. So that, I won, I think, probably when I was 11 years of age.
Wow.
So yeah, like I was that kid, like, sab kuch karna hai. And like I had Vishwanathan Anand, who is the chess champion. He came to our school once, and he kind of touched on this topic that, as kids, we should be given a lot of options to try and test. Like, there was a question that how do you know that this is my sport? Like, how do you identify this is my sport, or this is the activity that I would want to do, or this is my passion? Like, a lot of people say that, how do I discover my passion? So he touched on this, that the school or the society has to lay down things for kids as if they are laid out like a buffet, and they should taste each of it and then decide which dish tastes more good to take more. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I am in good hands. Like, I can try and like taste what I want to take more. So I think that is what I did in my life, and that is how I narrowed down that, okay, I have talent, I can work hard, and I like all these three sports. So let's combine them, and that is how my tri journey kind of started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how does a day in your life look like? Like, what do you do? Like, when you're in full training mode, what does Pragya Mohan do?
So I train in United Kingdoms mostly. So my day would start around 5:30 a.m. is when I would wake up, because my first session of the day is at 6:30 a.m. That is a swimming session. So we swim for about 5 to 6 kilometers. This is along with my squad. So we have about 12 to 13 people in my squad. We train together, and we would do 5 to 6 kilometers of swimming, including a lot of drills, variation, speed work, everything with our coach. And then we would then do a 20 to 30 minute sauna session. And then we would go home, have breakfast, relax. And by 12 o'clock, we have to meet in our team gym. We would do some gym work and some running. And then by 2 o'clock, we would go home, relax, have food, chill a bit, and sleep. Like, my afternoon naps are very important for me. And then around 5:30 in the evening, we meet again. And this is a cycling session for us. So we do about 40 to 60 kilometers of cycling. Again, variation.
Every single day.
Yeah, this is what an ideal day would look like. So yeah, that is, we finish in about 1.5 to 2 hours, chit chat a bit, and then go home, have dinner. And I call it a night by 9:30 p.m. Yeah. So yeah.
So 40 to 60 kilometers of cycling in 1.5 hours, you finish?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
No, so this is variation of a lot of speed drills and everything. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Sounds amazing.
We have some very fast people in our squad. So yeah, and like, as a professional athlete, professional triathlete, our focus is more on speed work. So it has to be speedy.
Yeah. As you were mentioning earlier, like, it's a very risky sport. You can have an injury, and then your sport stops for maybe 6 months or year. It usually happens with athletes. So, and you've had some serious injuries too in your past. How did you cope up with that? How did you manage it? And how did you not let it affect you mentally? Because sports, everything actually is more mental than physical. And especially, even if sports is a physical pursuit, it's mental more.
Yeah,
is what I've heard. So how did you cope up with it?
So each of the injuries and accidents have, like, they take back you from training for months. Like, like, even if you've had an injury and you're not able to train for 7 days, that is a lot, because you have to put in that hard work every day to be able to perform better. So yes, like, these injuries take you back a lot physically, like, and mentally they are draining because you put in so much hard work and now there's like a full stop kind of thing. So I've had some injuries. I remember the first major road accident that I've had in cycling. That was back in 2015 and it was in Ahmedabad. I was hit by an SUV. I had a memory loss after the accident, so I actually don't recall how exactly the accident happened. But what it looks like is that there was an SUV which overtook me on the ring road, came in front of me and braked. So I was immediately behind it, and I went under the SUV. I got hurt, and I hit my head pretty hard. Thankfully, I had a helmet that saved my life. Then when my parents took me back home, they laid me down on a bed, and they were trying to see where I got scratches, if I'd broken any bones, anything like that. And I woke up and I was like, oh, I need to go to the office, because at that time I was doing my CA articleship. And they were like, then they realized, they questioned me about the morning incident, and they realized that I had no memory whatsoever about that incident. I actually thought I overslept and missed my training. So I did not recall that I'd gone for cycling at all. So then they were like, physical injuries, rehne do. Let's focus on the mental injury. So I think that was the first time something of this impact had happened to me. So I did not touch my cycle for 2 months. I was physically okay within the next 2 weeks, but I did not touch my cycle for the next 2 months because I was too scared. I was like, okay, if I ride this cycle, I'll have an accident again. Maybe that was something that was going on. My coach was trying to, give me workouts. I was doing running, I was doing swimming, I was doing gym. But whenever it came to cycling, I used to not go. And it took them to realize for 2 months that, okay, I was skipping only the cycling workouts. And then my father came with me on the motorbike. He purchased a motorbike specifically to kind of come with me, and then he tried to be like, okay, I'll make sure you don't get into an accident. So that happened. But after that I have had accidents as well, but learning from the previous time, I think it's become easier to get back onto the training regime and not be fearful about the accidents. But yes, like mentally, it's always tough. It's always been a challenge to kind of be like, okay, you've done the hard work, but this is not a full stop. You can obviously resume back. So I think it's been a challenge, and but I think having the right set of people around you. Like in my first accident, if I didn't have my family, my coaches to see what I was doing, it is possible I would have never gone back to cycling. So my sports would have been derailed from there, because cycling is a major component of triathlon. So I think having the right group set of people, surrounding yourself with the right group set of people is very essential. Now, thankfully, I have my mentors, my coaches, my parents, everyone who is there to uplift me, especially when I'm not feeling because self-motivation, everything self is not always possible, especially when you are in your downtime. So I think that is very essential, having the right set of people to be around you, not only when everything is going happy and good, but when things go downhill,
especially during that time.
Yes, yeah, they can hold your hand, they can show you how to go forward. So I think that is very essential. Yes.
And do you do any yoga or meditation or any mental exercise to keep your mental health in check?
Yes, I do meditate every day, 12 to 15 minutes every day, which is a guided meditation. That I think I've only started during the pandemic, and I've continued that habit till date. And now my meditation is more goal oriented, and as we come closer to our competitions, it's more performance oriented, because now you have a lot of different options in meditation as well. Like a lot of applications have this meditated a guided meditation in which
Yeah.
you can tap into the competitive part, into sports training, into various different kinds of things. So yes, I do meditate every day, and I also practice visualization for my goals. So it's on a weekly basis. So that is something I religiously
Does
follow.
it help, like visualization?
Yes, immensely. Like I've only started it quite recently, I think 3 years ago. So it's definitely changed my perspective towards also the goals. Like apart from, like, now the goal is to be the best version of myself, not really to be the best on the field. Like to outperform my performances every time that I go on the field. So I think it definitely helps you also get into a perspective that what are you is actually your goal, and not just to chase that gold trophy or something like that. So I definitely think every athlete or every person for that matter should practice visualization.
Really, like, has there been any experience, something that you visualized,
Yeah.
and has actually come to as it is?
Yes.
Which was that incident? Can you explain that?
So I was doing a race in South Africa, and I'd visualized that how my ideal race would go. And it kind of, like, I was running, and at that time I was like, this is going as per I had actually visualized, like that position, how I felt, what was going through my mind. So everything was kind of similar, and there was a deja vu moment when I actually saw someone, and I was like, I think I visualized this.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. So
It's
manifestation does work, guys. Proved by Pragya. You have represented India in Commonwealth Games in 2022. How did it feel like? Tell us about the experience.
It was a very surreal experience. I mean, the moment we got our a letter for that we are going to be a part of the Commonwealth Games, and it was going to be the first time that Indian triathlon kind of got represented at the Commonwealth Games. So it obviously felt wow. It was a wow moment, and it was just like, okay, we want to work harder, because I think the selections happened 3 months prior to the games actually happening. So and then we had some training camps in India. We were 4 of us that were going to debut for triathlon. So yeah, it was a very good moment, and the moment that we reached there. So in triathlon, what happens is 2 days prior to the sport, to the competition, we actually have a briefing. So all the athletes are put into a room, and they tell us, oh, where are we going to swim, where are we going to cycle, where are we going to run, and they take us on the route to familiarize us with the course. So this is called route familiarization, which is mandatory for all the athletes. So sitting in that room with all the idols that I have in the sport, and just looking at them and being able to talk at the same, like you're sitting in the same room, you're the same athlete, like you're going to be like together on the start line. So there's no differentiator. Being with them, talking to them like normal human beings rather than, them being my idols. So I think that was the moment it actually hit that, okay, we are part of the Commonwealth Games. So I think that was very, it was something you wouldn't have imagined, like that would happen. So I think that was the moment that I realized that, okay, these are the games, and you're going to be at the start line with your with people that you idolize about. So yeah.
Who are your idols, if I may ask? Like, who have been the people who you looked up to?
A lot of athletes in my sport, particularly. So there is Flora Duffy. She's from Bermuda. There are two Brownlee brothers, Alistair and Jonathan Brownlee. They're from UK. So all these people, there's Potter, who is from UK. So I think all these people have such consistent performances and such good stories that how they came into the sport of triathlon, because it's a mixture of 3 sports. So you obviously start with one sport as your primary sport and then develop onto it. And the consistent performances that they've given at the world stages, I think those stories, and then when you meet them in person, and they're just normal, regular people, and it's just like so good to be with them and interact with them.
You've trained in Spain and Australia most of the time, and now you are training in UK.
Yeah.
How has the experience been there compared to when you've trained in India? And what is the reason most of the athletes, go train outside the country?
My sport, I can speak, is that because triathlon is still a nascent sport in India, the infrastructure or the coaches and the squads are not as much. Like if I want to train for Olympics, from India, no one has qualified for Olympics. So they're not coaches who know what it takes for an athlete to go to the Olympic Games. Yeah. So, and then there are no squads. When I talk about squads, these are the people that you're training with. So in a squad, you definitely need people who are better than you, so that you marginally better than you, so that you can chase them and become like them. So I think that is what I was looking for when I was looking to get trained. I wouldn't have it wasn't a conscious choice to go abroad if I had that facility in India. And also additionally, the Indian weather, like if I am training in London, or if I'm training in Spain, or I'm training in Melbourne in Australia, I can train in the afternoons. Like if I want to train outdoors at 12 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the evening, I can train outdoors. In India, most of the months, like 8 out of 12 months, you cannot, because of the heat. So that is also an additional reason why I train abroad. And then my sport also has open water swimming. So when we do the swim leg of triathlon, we are swimming in the lake, sea, river. Unfortunately, in India, we don't have open waters to swim at or train at. Yeah. So when I am in Melbourne, I can swim in the sea and do my training, because finally in my competition, I have to swim in an open water. And the swimming in a swimming pool and swimming in an open water has different skill sets, which as an athlete, I need to know. Yeah. So I think that is also a reason why I train abroad. Then talking about infrastructure, the infrastructure in India is quite limited. There you have athletic tracks, you have swimming pools, you have gyms that are well equipped and are not as busy as some of the facilities here. So you can, do your training within the required time instead of waiting. So I think those are the reasons why most of the athletes go abroad and train, and why I also chose to go abroad and get trained. Yeah. Yes.
But isn't it very expensive? Like, do you get sports sponsorships from different people or maybe organizations? How does it work?
So I am partly funded by the government and more rely on the private sponsorships. Okay. Yes, it is costly because you're going to pay in dollars or pounds or euros whenever you go abroad. And so yes, so that is how you manage as an athlete. And like I said, it did not happen for me since I chose to take the sport. The first international training for me happened in 2017. Yeah. So that was when I chose that I want to kind of explore if I can make this a career choice. And it has only become very convenient after 2019, after I started receiving support. And obviously, in spite of all the support that you have to continuously make choices which are not as expensive. Yeah. You have to cut down on your expenses even while being there, so that you are economical. Because unlike cricket, other sports don't have so much of funding.
Yeah. Yes. And less recognition also. Like before meeting you, I did not know that there's a category called triathlon, and there's a triathlete who actually, plays all three sports. Yes. So I think there's an obsession of cricket in India, which actually takes over all the attention from the other sport.
That is how, like, any sport is kind of fueled by the fan base that it has. Most of the professional athletes are actually pursuing the profession because of the fan base. So in India, cricket has a huge fan base, so a lot of money goes into it, unlike the other sports. So,
but do you think that scenario is changing now, that when more people are participating, going into Olympics? Do you think the infrastructure, the facilities, maybe the government initiatives are changing? Any positive thing?
Yeah, definitely. There are more conversations around it.
Yeah.
There's more recognition. Like now, we have started to recognize table tennis, badminton, wrestling. So these sports are getting recognition, but I like you need to win medals at that juncture to get recognized. So that's the sad reality. At grassroots level, there's almost negligible support. Uh, so like it, I think, but it's the chicken and the egg concept that do you want medals first or do you want to create grassroots athletes and then probably get medals?
Yeah.
And I would also say that the gestation period for getting sporting medals is very long.
Yes.
And like I said, it's risky.
Yes.
So even if you invest in an athlete for 10 years, there's no guarantee that they're going to get you an Olympic medal. Because what if at the 8th year they run into injuries or run into some accident? So I think as government or as public policies have to revolve around grassroots support and talent identification, because that is how we will get more medals. That is how we will create athletes, and also as a community or as a society we need to get into sporting culture. Like when I live abroad, what I notice is that sports is an integral part of their well-being of their community. Like on a Saturday, Sunday, most of them are outdoors running, sailing, fishing, doing something. Whereas you don't see that same in India. In the community, like having parties or eating out is considered outing rather than going for a hike, going for a run. So I think that as a society, as a community, we need to change. That is how we will get into this, recognizing athletes and also supporting them. Yes.
I think it starts from home.
It does. And more so for female athletes, I feel the support that the society should show them, that's not there. I feel that as a female athlete, a lot of my colleagues, I am fortunate that I do have support from my family, but a lot of them don't. And they have to fight against that to be able to come forward. Like in that boxing Mary Kom movie, we saw that her father was against her idea of pursuing professional boxing, but she goes against him and does it, and does so wonderfully well. That is the sad reality, that a lot of families don't support it, and that family thought is coming from the society and the community. So absolutely. I think as a community we need to think further and inculcate sports as an integral part of our life.
Since it is in the community and it runs in the family, do you think in sports, as well, like women athletes get less recognition, maybe less opportunities, or maybe sponsorships as compared to how a man who is an athlete would get?
I wouldn't be able to answer that, but obviously sponsorship, and especially private sponsorship, also depends on people you can reach out to. So that might be limited for females as opposed to males, but I'm not quite sure that is the case. Well, for my personal sponsorship, what I have faced is, first of all, whenever you go to make a presentation, the first question is, what is triathlon? Because a lot of people don't know what it is. So my presentation now starts with the sport that is swimming, cycling, and running. So instead of triathlon, and that is called triathlon. So so I think a lot of people are not aware of the variety of sports that there are. And in the last Paris Olympics also, I think from India, there were only 110 people who participated in this as a contingent from India. So that is very less. As a percentage of our population, that's nothing. So we need to kind of inculcate that somehow. And it's also when a child is in the school, sports is not considered a subject. It's not considered something of importance, which I feel is so sad. Like sports teaches you so many lessons which sitting in a classroom you can never learn. Like we all talk about that as people we should have sportsman spirit, but how will that be inculcated if you don't play sports? So I think that is very essential, and having sportsman spirit is very important in life, whether you become a sports person or not. It's very important. Like when I talk about sportsman spirit, it is for me that when you win without any ego or without any attitude, and when you lose gracefully. You don't take it into your heart that you're losing. So what I saw, especially in the CA course, the failure percentage is much higher than the pass percentage. So there are almost 97 to 98% of people failing.
Yeah.
And only 3-4% passing. Yeah. And people who don't have sportsman spirit take it to heart that they failed.
Yeah.
So they're not able to recover for a long time from that failure. Whereas for us as athletes, we face so much of failures, like
at such a young age.
Such a young age. Like if I have to win at the state level, if I have to call myself a state winner, I go through 3 levels. Go from my school, I have to get selected from my school, from my district, and then go to state and then win the state. But at school level, I've lost. At district level, I've lost. At state level, I've lost. And that is like years of efforts have gone into recognizing where I want to improve, the hard work that has gone through. So whenever I lose, yes, I feel bad. That is just human nature. But in 1-2 days, I'm ready and I'm like, okay, now what? Like, what did we learn from the failure? Let's implement that. Let's work harder to achieve our goals. But I don't see that in a lot of people.
Yeah.
But if they were to play sports at any level, I'm not saying that they have to be national athletes to be able to learn that thing from sports. They can learn that. And I think at a younger age, when you learn that, that just becomes a habit in your life. You don't even think about it. Like if I was to fail today, I wouldn't take it to my heart. I would feel bad, yes. I think that's just human. But I wouldn't take months to recover from it or years to recover from it. But I've seen some people who cannot take failures.
Yeah.
Or if they win in life or whatever, they become so egoistic.
Yeah.
So I think both the spectrums, they can learn from sports so easily. If just as child they were exposed to sports at even school level or any level.
Actually, that's a very good thing to take. That you are not supposed to take both the things seriously.
Yes.
Neither of them. Like even your wins and your losses.
And like the teamwork that like a team sport can teach you, or even a sport like mine, like it looks very individual, like because I am performing, I am the one on the field, but at the back end you're working with so many people, and if even one of the people was not supposed to be on, like does not give their 100% while working with you, be it my coach, my sponsors, media, or my mentors or my family, I wouldn't be able to perform on that day. So there's a lot of teamwork that goes even in individual sports. So, and more in team sports, like if you were to play football and you're the best talent in the world, but if you can't work with your team, you'll never get recognition, nor will your team. So I think sports teaches you so much more. So I think as kids, as they need to be exposed and then make it a lifestyle. I'm very happy that with pickleball, it's become such a trend now. So I'm very happy that people have taken to pickleball.
Pickleball is a sensation.
Yes, it is. It is. It's called the next golf. So I'm very happy that it's so accessible and a lot of people have taken to it.
Yeah. I think social media has made it quite famous. And people out of FOMO, even people who are not very sporty and athletic are going.
Yes. And that is actually a good thing about that sport, that you don't have to be athletic. You can just play it, and then people are getting addicted to it and coming with their friend circle. It's become the social club of the cities. So I think that's a very good way to go about it, because it's physical activity, so you're getting the physical exercise as well. You get to socialize and you get to learn the things that sports teaches you. So I am very happy that such a trend has come into being.
It's a good trend to have. I don't know how long will it last, But it's a very good
Yes,
trend to
yeah,
have.
true.
Yeah. And also these run clubs people have
Yes,
started,
yeah.
and there are people actually actively participating
Yes,
in all these. It's a
yeah,
good thing to
yeah, yeah. I'm very happy that these things are coming and people in their 20s are participating, because otherwise, I was really disappointed that a lot of people in their 20s don't take to physical activities. They are finding other avenues to spend their time. So now with these things happening, at least
Yeah.
you see younger crowds taking
Absolutely.
to it. So it might hopefully stay for a lifetime further.
Yeah, I hope so. So, amongst the three sports that you play, which one is your favorite and you think is your strongest pursuit? Like, is it swimming or cycling or running?
That's a very tricky question. I I would say I like swimming the most because I've always loved being in water until date. Like I just enjoy the feeling of being in water. But if you were to ask my competitors, I think they would say cycling is my strongest part in triathlon. I think I can generate a lot of power on the cycle, and I'm quickest amongst the lot in cycling, even at the world scenario. So I would say cycling would be my strongest.
And which one is the weakest?
That's a very good question. Oh, well, again, compared to my competitors, I would say swimming.
Okay.
Yeah, swimming would be my weakest. Yeah, if you were to compare me with my competitors, and that is also one of the reasons that I swim 7 days a week.
Okay. You train the hardest there.
Huh?
You train the hardest.
Yes, because I'm trying to improve on it, and because I'm lacking, and so yes, yeah. That's very unfortunate because I started with swimming as my primary sport. And I started swimming when I was like less than 2 years of age. But yeah.
A lot to improve there.
Yes. So at my level, it's just marginal gains that you can have. So yes, still working very hard on it.
So the competition wise, like if I think about it, so a person who wins is like very the difference is very marginal, right? It's very tiny, is what I have heard, like from milliseconds or something like that, right?
Yeah. So so triathlon at the world scenario. So my distances in the competition are 1500 meters of swimming. So that is 1.5 kilometers, followed by 40 kilometers of cycling, and finishing with 10 kilometers of running. So this is an entire of 2 hours up, like plus or minus maybe 5 minutes race, depending on the route. So in triathlon per se, you get seconds or minutes difference between the winner, second, third, and up till maybe 20th or something. But yes, in other sports, like if you were to see 100-meter running, then the differences are very minute.
So how much is the difference between the person who wins and maybe the person who comes second and third in your sport?
It would be somewhere between 40 to 50 seconds to 1.5 minutes.
Still low, and it's a lot of quantity training that involves, because it's a long run, it's a long thing to cycle, like long distance for cycling also and swimming also. So still it's very low as compared
compared to the entire duration, it's very close. Like sometimes you also have photo finish, which is like they have to then see the photo footages and see who actually won, because both of them finished together. So we have had those instances as well. So yes, like the difference when you compare to the entire quantum of the race,
the percentage is
the percentage,
same. Because if it's a 100-meter swim, and the difference is of milliseconds, so it's every millisecond in that 100 meter sprint.
True.
So I think
the percentage will be the same.
So the difference is very very competitive.
So, and especially after such a long race, if you lose by those seconds, you feel like, oh my god.
But I think that's what sports teaches you. I feel. To actually work for that extra second.
Yes, true. And like I think each competition you cannot predict who is going to win, in spite of the best seasons that some athletes might have had, because it's also on the day. how you perform, how you position yourself in the race, kind of thing. So a lot of factors affect you even on the day of the competition. So yes.
So, like, what was the most difficult moment for you? Like, the things that have affected you the most?
In terms of competition or
Sports in general and during the competition.
what's affected me the most?
Yeah, your difficult moment.
I think difficult moments have always revolved around injuries and accidents. That, in particular, I had an accident in Spain in 2019, and it was days after my World Cup event. So it was just few days after that I crashed with a car in Spain. And my training was going wonderfully well. Everything was falling into place, like, a professional wise. There were people who were ready to support me. And then I had this accident, and I was told that it was going to be a long haul to recovery. I was at probably my physically I was the fittest. I was looking forward to more world championship races and stuff like that. And there's this full stop that comes, and I was in a foreign country. I was just like, what do I do? And I was going to be there for 3 more months to train, and then everything kind of, the plans derailed, everything came to a full stop, and it took me 10 days to decide on what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, like what next. And I was told that I had a big surgery. It was almost like a 5-hour surgery that went into it, and I was told that, for next 1.5 months you can't do anything, like you cannot even sweat. So I was just like in a very big dilemma. So I think that was the moment I was just like, I was like, is sports happening for me or is it not happening for me? Will there be a comeback from this? There were a lot of questions. So I think that is when your support group kind of steps in. They answer some questions for you, some questions they don't answer, but they're like, we'll find out. Don't worry. So I think that was one moment of very difficult, a difficult moment in my journey. And the very recent one happened in 23 December. So I was prepping for the Paris Olympics, and I had come to India for 3 weeks. I landed in India at the Diwali day. I think it was 16 November 23. And I was supposed to be in India only for 3 weeks, celebrate Diwali, do some social work, and then go back to UK to continue my training, because we were online to qualify for Paris 2024. And I was told, I had some problem in my wrist. So I went to my orthopedic, and they told me that I had to undergo surgery.
Whoa.
Otherwise, that would mean losing my wrist. And it was supposed to be a plastic surgery and everything. And that was the most heartbreaking moment for me in my journey. Because
you were preparing for
Paris Olympic Games.
So that got...
Yes, it was a decision between saving my left wrist or going to Paris.
Oh God.
And I actually took 2 days to decide.
Oh God, still.
Yeah. So everyone like in my support circle also had told me that maybe it's your decision. It's like they did not want to take the onus of taking a decision for me. It was only one of my mentors. I went to meet him, and he was like, is this even a choice you're considering between your wrist and Paris? So he was like, the Olympic Games will come again, but your wrist won't. So I think that is when I was like, okay, I need to undergo this surgery. So yeah, that was like the hardest moment in my journey.
So India hasn't debuted in Olympics for triathlon, and you're India's best bet. How does it feel? Like, thinking that you'll be the first person who will be participating in triathlon for Olympics and representing the country.
I think it's a matter of a lot of pride, and a lot of career goals. So I think, but along with that comes a lot of pressure to perform at races. So yeah, but I enjoy the journey, and I have the right coaches, the right mentors behind me, supporting me for this. So I think it is definitely happening in LA. 2028.
Wow.
So yeah, we are preparing for it, and we are online to kind of make it happen in LA. So yes, I definitely want to see triathlon being represented at the Olympic Games, because with like all the sports, like with Bhavani Devi qualifying for fencing, and in 2021. So I think that showed us, then the fencing got a lot of recognition in India because of the first person to be able to qualify for the game. So I think that is what I want for triathlon as well. Like when someone steps onto the highest level in the world at the Olympic Games, there's a lot of recognition from the government, from individuals that go into it, that okay, now we have someone to represent us at the world stage. So then a lot of people kind of take to the sport. There's a lot of funding that goes into sport, a lot of supporters. So I think that is what I want to see with triathlon as well.
So I think a lot of spotlight goes into that particular game when one person flourishes and brings that to the international stage.
Yes, and I think for even aspiring athletes, when they see that, okay, there is a representation like us there, like, okay, this girl, we know her, like, you know, she if she can do that, so can we. So there's an aspiration that is generated. So I hope that with my efforts, I can inspire some athletes to kind of pursue that path and see that, okay, being a triathlete from India is a tangible, is doable as a professional athlete. Yes.
What do you think, you know, us as a country, not us as a country, but government should do more for athletes, especially women athletes, for different sports, not just, you know, triathlon? But let's say if it's triathlon is your sport, so you can speak about that as well. Like, what do you think is lacking?
I think the grassroots support is lacking. The talent identification at an early age is lacking. And I think the thought, the government also does not, I think I have to make a lot of representation for that, for them to understand what an endurance sport looks like. Like all sports have different ages where they peak. So for triathlon in specific, one peaks at around 35, mid-30s age. Like my mentor, she represented South Africa at Olympics until 21 Olympics, like Tokyo Games. And she was 41 when she retired. So she was again a triathlete. So different sports have different ages where the person peaks, gives his best performances. So they kind of look at all the sports from the same view. They feel that, okay, a sprinting race, like being a 100-meter sprinter, is same as running 10 kilometers. It's not. It's 10 kilometers is an endurance event, marathon is an endurance event, triathlon is an endurance event, badminton is a highly skilled game. So every sport has a different age. So they need to take that into perspective as well. The long term, there's a concept called long-term athlete development goals. So there's a route of developing athletes. So it says that until the age of 8 to 12, you should experiment with a lot of different sports and then identify which is your sport based on your talent, how you are doing as opposed to others, and then stick to that sport. So I think that is not happening in India as of now. Like after 12, you need to decide on to which sport you want to go to. A lot of things, what I see is happening is that the coaches are identifying that, okay, this person is good. So at the age of 9, 10, they're just taking them away from all the other sports, possible sports, and making them do that. So I think that has to also kind of align, that the child or the kid has to decide, obviously with some guidance, but they have to be exposed to a lot of different sports. That is how their talent in different sports will be identified. Like, for example, I can tell you, she's an Olympian. She represented at the Tokyo Games, Mana Patel. She's from Ahmedabad. She's a swimmer. She did not start swimming until pretty late. Like, she came to swimming at the age of around 11 or 12, which is considered late for swimming. But her talent was unmatchable to any other person. Like
Wow.
when she swam with the same coach that I was training at that moment. And when she came, within a year, she had national titles to her name.
Wow.
And within 2 years, she was creating national records. So I think if she was not exposed to it, we would have missed on such a big talent from India. So I think that is why a lot of kids have to be exposed to different sports. So you never know where their talent lies. Obviously, talent alone does not help. You have to do a lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
But there has to be some inherent talent to be able to perform at the world levels for different sports.
Yeah. You're part of World Triathlon Mentee program. What does it What does it actually mean? First, tell us that, and then how did you get into it? What are the plans ahead for that?
The world level federation of my sport is called World Triathlon. They operate out of Europe and their head office is based in Spain. When they launched this in 2019, the mentee program. So I have a lot of mentors, but what did it mean to be actually a good mentee? And how do you make the most out of your mentorship that you have with different mentors? So I did not know that. So when they launched this mentee program, my Indian Federation reached out to me and they were like, if you are interested, if you're interested, let us know. So I told them that this is a good opportunity to kind of learn that how do you get mentorship and use it to your personal abilities the maximum. And I was fortunate enough to get a mentor. Her name was Annie Brown from Philippines.
Okay.
And she was my mentor for this program, and she mentored me. That was a very fluid program in terms of they didn't have a set agenda that you had to get mentored for a particular reason or particular thing. It was between my mentor and I to decide on what I wanted my mentorship around. So I think that program also entailed a lot of classes onto how to get the maximum from your mentor in terms of learning how to be a good mentee. So I think I learned how to be a good mentee, how to kind of ask questions, how to use their expertise and their experiences to my best, for my personal growth. So that program was for almost 1.5 years, in which we used to have regular calls, regular meetings, and she used to expose me to different areas of thought, which as a 20-year-old, you only have so much of experience, so much of knowledge. So it was quite rewarding in the sense that I got to understand how to be a good mentee. And now I have about 4 mentors and of different areas, different expertise, different ages. One of my mentors, she's an athlete, she's a triathlete. Like I mentioned, the South African mentor that I have. So she guides me on the athlete front. One of the mentors, she is highly into sustainability, climate action, and now I'm trying to get into it. So she trains me for that. Another mentor, he is around 70 years of age, has a lot of industrial background, guides me on life. So, and then Annie, she is a triathlon coach in Philippines, has a very similar story as me, trying to become the first Philippine girl to represent triathlon at the Olympic Games. So we connect there, like what are the difficulties I'm facing in life, in a triathlon, as an athlete. So I think learning to use their expertise for my benefit was what I learned out of that entire experience. And it was quite good, because we talk about having mentors, but how do you become a good mentee? So you don't have courses like this generally. So when I got this opportunity, I was very there was a lot of gratitude in me, because I learned how to kind of become a good mentee.
Yeah. Wow. Apart from all this, you have initiated a project called Beti Ek Cycle. It sounds really interesting to me. Tell us about that. Like, what is it?
So before we started Beti Ek Cycle, there was a lot of research that went behind it. And what we found is that every village around Ahmedabad in Gujarat has a primary school, which means it is from 1st to 8th standard. And every cluster of 5 to 7 village have a high school, which is 9th and 10th standard. So what does this mean is that a girl going to 8th standard school is going within her village. So she is traveling or walking for a few hundred meters to get to her school. Now, as soon as she has to go to the 9th standard school, she has to travel to another village. So this means that she's traveling between 5 to 10 kilometers to go to that school. And at this point, there is 60% of girls dropping out of education. Now, one of the reasons is because how do you ensure that a girl from this village can go to the other village every day without fail? So there's no mode of commute. So at Ek Beti Ek Cycle, we are trying to empower these girls and let them stay in education by giving them a cycle that they can cycle to their high school every day. Now, what are we trying to do is tackle this problem. Now, the other question that we were faced with, how do we source these cycles? So, we go to private schools and housing societies in the city and ask the kids and the parents to give us cycles that children have outgrown of. So, this cycles which are not being used. If you go to an apartment building, there will be so many cycles lying wasted. So, those are the cycles we are urging the public to give to us. We refurbish these cycles and we collect these cycles from their doorsteps. So, they don't have to drop it anywhere. We refurbish and repair these cycles. We teach these girls how to cycle because most of these girls, although they are 12 to 13 years of age, don't know how to cycle. And even if they do, they're not they do not have the confidence to be able to cycle on the public road with the traffic, with the cows, dogs, potholes, everything, kacha pakka rasta. So we teach them, we do a 3 to 5 day training camp for these girls. We teach them how to cycle and train them. And we also train them with basic puncture repair, cycle repair, the basics that they need to know to maintain a cycle. And then we hand over these cycles to them. And the interesting portion is also, when we are handing them the cycles, we are actually giving it to the school that they are going to go. The school loans these cycles to these girls. So when they complete their education, suppose 10th standard, they complete their education, they have to give it back to the school. We'll again repair it and give it to the next batch of girls coming in. So we are recycling the cycle until they can be used. So this is a totally sustainable project that we have created. Someone's waste is going to, enhance someone's life and mean that they are getting educated. So in some years, we want to see this percentage of 60% dropping out reduce. So that is the entire plan.
It's a beautiful initiative actually. One is, it is actually helping, the waste to actually cut down. 2, it is actually helping girls who are not able to access, high schools because of commute, get a cycle. And 3, you are actually teaching them a skill, which is cycling, which they do not know. So it's a very beautiful initiative. I must appreciate you for that. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. And one more thing, this entire initiative is being supported by International Olympic Committee, who are the organizers of the Olympic Games. Yes.
Beautiful. I did not know that even Olympics support these initiatives. These initiatives are usually done by sports people, athletes, or what is the scenario?
No, there's no compulsion, but yes, I got inducted into one of their programs, and that is how they came on board to supporting Ek Beti Ek Cycle. They're seed funding the entire project, and they also give you ideas on how to kind of build onto the project. And we want to go pan-India. We are currently in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. Last year, we held around 587 girls around Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. This year, we are launching another project in Pune. And slowly and steadily, we want to go pan-India because it's a pan-India problem. It's just not a Gujarat problem.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
So, when you're not sure, who is that person who manages the takes care of the?
Now, slowly, we have had a volunteer base, and a lot of volunteers are very passionate about it. My family is also very supportive, so my family takes care. There are a lot of volunteers that we have. So yes, the team is growing, and I think whoever becomes a part of the team sees the vision that we have, and they are able to appreciate it. We've got volunteers who have had a similar story, like how a cycle changed their life. So that is the reason they wanted to get associated with us. So I think the team that we are now building has been very, very helpful. And even when I'm not here, they make sure that everything is going smoothly. Obviously, initially when we started it, it was just family and friends. And we went door to door for people to ask for cycles, and sometimes we were shooed away. They were like, "Oh my God, what are you going to do with my cycle?" So yeah, but now it's become
it's a known thing.
Yeah, and people are getting collaborated with us. We recently did a tie-up with My Bike. A lot of financial sponsors have also shown interest and come on board. So yes, there is a momentum, and we are building onto it.
Wow. So the organization that helped you is Young IOC Young Leaders.
Yes, they have a program called IOC Young Leaders.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they actually help you with the seed funding and everything.
Yes, seed funding, and they also monthly we have an expert session in which they teach us about social entrepreneurship, social businesses, and how do you make sports a medium to bring positive change in your society. So their entire motto, there's a concept called Olympism. So Olympism is all about using power of sports to bring a positive difference in your society.
Wow.
And the Olympic Games actually started with that thought, that as they wanted to use the power of sports to bring peace and harness that everyone is equal on the field. That is how the entire motto of Olympic Games is that. Now it's become very competitive. People want to win medals, but yet the motto is that at the world level, we want all the countries to come together as athletes, as spectators, as people who promote sports, so that there is peace and harmony between communities. That was the thought, and that is still the thought behind Olympic Games. So this is just one of the wings that they're trying to help, and they select about 25 elite athletes from 25 different countries every 2 years, and it's a 4-year program in which they teach us on how to do this and how to also implement it, scale it up, and how to ensure that it's sustainable in the future. They don't want it just for 4 years, they want it forever. So, and my vision for Beti Ek Cycle is something similar. We want to go pan-India. We want to help as many girls as possible.
Now we have come to the last part of the last question of the podcast. Is that what's the one message you would like to give out to every athlete, every aspiring athlete who wants to do good in sports and in life?
I think believe in yourself and enjoy the journey. That is what I would want to tell them. Believe in yourself in spite of the hurdles, in spite of the injuries, in spite of you losing. Believe in your vision and enjoy the journey, because you will reach the goal eventually. But the journey is the most important part. The journey is the part that you will remember the most. So just enjoy every bit of it, be it harsh, be it nice. Enjoy the journey and do it with a happy face, with a smile that makes it easier. So I think that is what I would tell to anyone, that enjoy the journey and set big goals so that the journey, the pursuit itself becomes very fulfilling, very enjoyable.
Before we end our podcast, we would like to play a quick rapid fire game with you.
Okay.
It's not
have to be very fiery.
Questions. Yeah. You have to be rapid and you have to be fiery. So, if not a triathlete, what would Pragya Mohan be today?
I would be a chartered accountant. I am a chartered accountant, so I think I would pursue that as a career.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've done in the name of sports?
Craziest thing?
Yeah.
A lot of crazy things I've done. I think cycling at 80 kilometers per hour on a downhill cycling would be one of the craziest, like the wind that you feel, and you can't brake at that speed. So I think that would be crazy enough. Getting stung by a jellyfish and then having a swollen face for a week, not being able to eat nothing, not being able to drink, not being able to speak. I think that was crazy enough. So yes.
If you could swap lives with any athlete in a world for a day, who would it be?
So I have a big, so she's my idol, and her name is Gwen Jorgensen. She's a triathlete from USA. I think I would love to live her life and see how much training she does in a day. I think I would collapse by the middle of it, but I would definitely want to live her life for a day.
One Indian dish you crave but have to resist because of training?
Oh, I am very North Indian that way. Chole bhature. I can't get enough of it.
But do you eat chole bhature though?
Yeah, like once in 6 months or something. Yeah, I can. But I wish I could eat more of it.
Okay. The weirdest thought that's ever crossed your mind mid-race?
Mid-race? I actually try not to think of anything. But like I told you, that South African race, I had a deja vu moment, and I was just like, oh my God, I've visualized this and it's actually happening, kind of thing. So I think that would be the craziest. It was not mid-race, it was towards the end, but yeah, that would be something. Or once I was in Kenya, I was racing and I was dehydrated and I was hallucinating and I was just like, oh my God, am I going to make it to the finish line? I think that would be also.
Oh God. Yeah. Your pre-race ritual, something that you do every single time?
So in triathlon, what happens is we are on the start line. So we get lined up, and then by the number we are called, and by the country name we are called one by one. So in that start line, I hold my hands together and do 3 deep breaths. So that is something I don't miss ever. So yes, that is something I religiously follow.
Oh, wow. If Bollywood made a biopic on you, who's playing you?
Okay, this is far-fetched. But okay. I think Tapsi Pannu. I think I really like her.
And there's a similarity in the face also, in the features also.
Okay, so, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
But I just love her movies, and like she's playing a very like female-centric movies, which I feel like I am like that. Like I love female empowerment, and as an athlete, as a female, I just want to see that happening. So I think yes, yeah.
Very good choice. One myth about triathlon you would want to bust right now?
There are a lot of triathlon myths. First is that a lot of people think swimming, cycling, running, you have to do on 3 different days, but it's one after the other. And yes, we wear the same suit for swimming, for cycling and running. It's called a tri-suit. So I think a lot of people ask me, change kahan karte ho? So change nahi karti मैं swimming भी उसमें करती हूँ, cycling भी उसमें करती हूँ, running भी उसमें करती हूँ. So I think the tri-suit myth that we don't change clothes. If I do want to change clothes, that's allowed, but that would be counted in my race time.
Oh,
so yes.
What's next for Pragya Mohan, both as an athlete and in personal life?
I think the big goal for me is to make it to the LA 2028 Olympic Games. I would definitely love to be there and be the Indian face of triathlon at the Olympic Games and win, get the gold medal. And off the field, I think I want to make Ek Beti Ek Cycle big enough so that we can help as many girls as possible and reduce the dropout percentage which is happening because of lack of commute in India. I think that would definitely be one of the goals.
Wow, and we wish you a very, very all the best for that, Pragya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and having this beautiful conversation with us.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I really enjoyed it.
I had a great time. I had a blast. Thank you.